So my name is Tom Bain. I work with a company called Counterattack. We're a next-generation endpoint security company. Our differentiation in the market is, if you think about how security historically has always been handled by Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, it's all about kind of signature-based detection, legacy solutions that aren't necessarily. So when we're talking about big data security, right? Big data endpoint detection and response, we're really talking about a couple of things. It's efficient data collection, it's on-premise data collection, on-premise infrastructure, and it's also all about being able to collect information from a position of stealth. For us, our secret sauce is our agent that installs on distributed endpoints. So that comes down to workstations, laptops, servers. And what we're doing in the market right now, our differentiation really is all about advanced threat detection, binary analysis of actual code binaries and how malware is packaged, but that also doing that with a big data back end. So that's kind of our differentiation in the market. We feel that we're redefining endpoint detection and response as folks like Gartner are categorizing it. So basically, we're a venture-backed company. We just completed a Series C round of about $21 million. We've got office locations in Boston, Sacramento, Los Angeles. We've got endpoint detection response solutions and incident response solutions. We're recognized by some of the analysts as an emerging vendor in this space, with a lot of rip and replace of technologies like antivirus. And we've got some interesting investors, pretty strategic mix, Siemens Venture Partners, EDBI is a sovereign fund of Singapore, Mantech, Alcatel-Lucent, and some classic venture partners, including OnPoint Technologies, it's the venture arm of the U.S. Army, where their only cyber investment. Just for not being around too long, we've got some big name customers already. And then we've also started to build out our channel market and basically our partner ecosystem with a lot of best-of-breed solutions as we go to market territorially, nationally, and internationally. So really, what problem are we solving? I think that's what it comes down to in security. There's obviously a lot of problems. The threat landscape has obviously increased. There's more sophistication for how attackers are targeting enterprise organizations, big government. The reality is 70% of what security professionals and security ops people are looking at are known threats. So just kind of commodity-based malware, basically just if you're looking at it from the standpoint of kind of the static that you see on a regular basis, you're getting a lot of alerts, right? And you're seeing stuff that you might not want to assign your guys on your large enterprise security team to really go and investigate that stuff, because it's not going to be that big of a problem. The reality is 30% of what you're dealing with are unknown threats. Previously unseen in your systems, that's what you're really dealing with, and that's what's causing a lot of the data breach problems today. And the pain that a lot of the enterprise security teams are feeling right now, it's really all about the proliferation of these threats, right? And if you think about the time it takes to actually fix a lot of these problems, if you're getting, let's say the average organization gets about 17,000 notifications basically every week, about 3,200 of those are going to be deemed reliable. About 700 of those are actually going to be investigated. So you can see that the time it's taking is close to 400 man-hours per incident. And it becomes an issue because you're starting to chase ghosts as opposed to remediating what's happening across your endpoints at scale. And what's happening is security operations, responders, and analysts are really looking at the problem. And the reality is traditional threat detection is just dead at this point. You just can't do things the way you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I think what's happening is there's so much data that's being generated from different security products and also other products within the infrastructure that you're looking at it and going, okay, there's data that's left out. I can't make decisions based on some of the data that's left out. So up and down the stack, the guys that have the hardest security jobs are all experiencing this pain. And what we offer to organizations is really the power to essentially provide a predictive binary analysis of threats as we see them coming in, but surveying the operating system as attackers are coming in. What that means is, as attacks are actually happening, we're observing behaviors. So the observables we see include processes, executables, registry activity. So, but we see this at scale. And this is where sort of the big data component of our product comes into play. So our solution is integrated on top of Cloudera. So what this really means is it gives our customers the ability to, it's more of a management platform as opposed to having to kind of, roll your own. Essentially, that means it's a packaged enterprise product and it's ready to go, as opposed to starting to build the different components that you could within big data. Additionally, flexibility, scale, HA, the maturity of the interface was great. And another key reason I think really that it boils down to is the ability to deploy nodes and to monitor and to diagnose the workloads as they're happening. We've got deployments that run, anywhere from 50 to 75 to 100,000 endpoints, right? And we can scale exceedingly higher than that. So what it comes down to is we need to know exactly how the data is being balanced coming in. And of course, the deduplication, the compression, the encryption, it's all made possible by Cloudera for us. So our product is called Sentinel, just so you know what we actually have here. We call it an enterprise-wide continuous endpoint monitoring platform. We say that it's got an element of tamper resistance to it because, again, that's kind of our secret sauce, as we're putting our agents on distributed endpoints, again, workstations, laptops, servers, mobile devices across the enterprise. It's a lot of data that's generated, and you can look at it from the standpoint of there's a lot of endpoints that have a lot of data that's being generated, and there's a lot of endpoints that might not have a lot of data. So it's up to often it's up to the operators to start to kind of tune that to understand exactly where they're most susceptible to the most sophisticated attacks. So again, what we're trying to get to is pervasive security analytics for our customers, where we're really helping teams kind of define those behavioral profiles. We're helping them define specific behaviors that we're seeing that could lead to really bad things. And then one thing that we're able to do, because we're able to collect so much data, different file types, unstructured, structured, we're able to help operators make better security decisions. But then we can also start to quarantine and batch quarantine certain systems as we're looking at threats and evaluating those. What we do is we also help incident response cycles. We improve incident response cycles. So if we're looking at just better data, more accurate, more precise data, more quickly and at scale, that's really what we're talking about with our big data backend made possible by Cloudera. And certainly, if you're a security operator and you're looking at threats in real time, you probably have some tier 2 or tier 3 incident response guys on your team who are going to dig deep, who are going to investigate. So historical data is also a very critical component of tier 2, tier 3 incident response. So I just I put a couple of customer use cases up here. So we've got a global nuclear power company who we work with, and I just kind of asked a couple of our customers, how does we tend to get very caught up in the security of things in the security industry, but basically I think that if you're looking at it from a big data standpoint, security guys are going to have a much different take on kind of what that means to them. So Sean, our customer here, basically said, I like the fact that I can get a forensic workup based on the fact that we can extrapolate so much data and very detailed forensic data endpoint to endpoint at scale. Whether it's an indicator of compromise or it's an executable hash, he likes the fact that he can kind of search and get that data almost instantaneously so that he can start to make those decisions. He can hit the quarantine button in our interface, that's fine. But if it requires further investigation, even outside of our platform, and a manual remediation, he can undertake that effort pretty effectively. And the second customer use case here is a major bank over in London. Basically, what he likes about it is the distributed it gives him a distributed application that helps him balance the workload. He doesn't need to get into a lot of complexity with doing that. And in the future, what he really wants to see in the product and what he's going to do, and again, this is all sort of predicated on the big data back end. It's all about he's all about wanting to go into a predicative modeling type of exercise where he can look at a lot of the information that he's collected and just get just more granular on anomaly detection. So it's kind of where, and he's looking at that across endpoint activity and across what he's seeing in the network. So I've got a little matrix here, and I'm going to skip through this to the last slide here. At the end of the day, we're all about reducing incident response cycles. That's where the big data component of our product comes in. It's all about time to result in security, and Cloudera helps us with that. And it's all about correlation as well too. So if we can correlate enterprise-wide, we're in a spot where we can make much better security decisions based on contextual information and not just indicators and not just kind of malware that's coming in, that's potentially commodity-based that incident response guys are going to waste their time with. And what we want to do is we want to keep people basically out of the 42% here, which is basically it takes about a month for any security incident to be fully resolved with the system fully restored with that threat verified. That's where 42% of most of security operations are at right now, and our goal is to keep them out of there. So that's kind of like our ROI, and that's it. I'm about a minute over. So any questions? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.